Good morning or afternoon, everyone. I will be starting in a few minutes. Let's just wait for a few more people to join, but thanks for joining. Once again, good morning or afternoon, guys. I know there's a few people from the States. I'm sitting here in sunny London at the moment. Hopefully going to give you a bit of an insight about a little bit more about who we are and what we do. I'm sure that most of you have heard about us before and seen some of the things that we do. In the last few years, we've slowly started getting our name out there a little bit more, and we're really now sort of, we like to think at the forefront of technology and at the forefront of a lot of the exciting things that's currently going on in the world of print. And we do that via the means of web to print. A bit about what I'm going to be talking about today is unleashing the power of your imagination. That's sort of the strap line of this presentation. We've recently come back from Print Week Live. It was a good exhibition over here in the UK for us, and we put quite a lot of our resource into it. Our managing director, Douglas Gibson, was actually chosen to give one of the presentations. So this is a slightly modified version for that. He's very passionate about what we do, and I'll give you a bit more of an insight about what we do anyway. But really the aim here is to give you that overview and a bit of an understanding, and then we can go further into detail as we progress in these conversations. I will obviously invite questions at the end. Sometimes it's not ideal to do via the webinar, so I'd be more than happy to have myself or one of the team contact you to answer any questions that you do have. But as you can see, what the focus of today is unleashing the power of your imagination through web to print, creating exciting new market and revenue opportunities. First and foremost, a little bit about who we are. So as you may or may not know, we are essentially a software development house that specialize in the print sector. We've been operating for only the last 7 years, which is obviously relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but have very quickly risen to become one of the most comprehensive, flexible, and intuitive e-commerce solutions out there on the market. We're typically associated with web to print, but in reality, we offer a huge amount more, and you'll be able to see with some of the things that I'll talk about today. The concept was initially started by our current managing director, a guy called Douglas Gibson. He is a Xerox veteran, and back in 2005, he spawned this out of a much larger corporate outfit. Long story short, he ended up buying them out in 2010 and began a new chapter with us as Infigo Software. We've now grown to operate out of 3 main offices. We do have our head office here in the UK, but we've also got an office out in the US as well as Eastern Europe and Moldova for some of the clever integrations and back office stuff. They are wholly owned by us, and we have about 10 developers that work for us full time over there, as well as our UK base as well. We currently manage about 1,500 sites all over the world as well, and that really is as far flung as sort of South Africa, Australia, the US, much of Europe as well. So we've really grown quite substantially in the past few years. One of the exciting points about what we can offer is a recent acquisition of a digital marketing agency, a company called NetCandy, who are relatively local to ourselves. This basically allows us to offer out a full service to our clients. So one of the main reasons that we were looking into web to print and why it was failing for a lot of these clients that we had, not necessarily our clients, but out there on the market, was that printers didn't necessarily know how to advertise it. They didn't know how to talk about it. So the acquisition of a digital marketing agency really allows us to help our clients in getting the word out about the cool things that they can do with our system. We're also, as you can see in the corner, a proud HP SmartStream partner. Myself and the boss, Douglas, are actually out in Tel Aviv next week at one of their VIP events. We take part in many of their events over the world, more specifically in labels and packaging now. But in reality, any of the more complex projects, they tend to get us involved in, which is quite a nice place to be for us as well. So why is web to print relevant right now? Why is it so relevant right now? You'll see it in the press a lot. A lot more people are getting involved in it. There's some very interesting stats out there about the number of printers using it. And I believe halfway through last year, that was at about 50% of printers were using some sort of web to print system. The truth of the matter is that only 10% of that 50 are actually doing anything worthwhile with it, are actually making money. We'd like to say a lot of those are our clients, but in reality, there has to be structure, there has to be strategy behind it. But why do people do this? Because demands are growing to be more personalized, more on demand for the printer, print on demand, and obviously more reactive to the changes in technology as well are ever so increasing. Clients and consumers demand a great user experience, speed, and accessibility. As we said before, more and more people are ordering online and are needing a good platform to be able to do this. But client budgets are also under pressure. So solutions that improve workflow and reduce costs are key to this. Web to print software enables your business to be more dynamic, improve efficiency, deliver on-demand personalization along with the brand engagement. And it also allows you to obviously manage everything within that digital space. A good example of personalization and where it's been very successful that everyone would have seen is the Share a Coke campaign. Now, when they blazed a trail into personalization of products, it was to stand out on the supermarket shelf. But Coke's original campaign wasn't even personalized. It was a very clear marketing strategy using simple versioning, product versioning, and it delivered, bringing Coke out of a period of declining sales, which, as we can see there, increased it 2% after 10 years out. It shows that the power of digital print was really hitting hard within the retail sector. And that is now being followed by many brands out there, from Nutella to Marmite to Cadbury's and Kit Kat as well, you may have seen recently. And it's a big part of everyday life, and we'll show you some examples of this. But all of these are examples of very effective productization using simple personalization, or not so much in Coke's case, but in the mind's eye, it is a personalization technique. With our very own example, we actually won quite a decent contract with Hershey's over with our American friends over there. And we won this at Drupa last year, and it's because of some of the uniques that we have as a business and we went on to develop. This is a site. Essentially, we provide a storefront solution, which I will take you through in a short while. But this is an example of where that comes into play. So I can visit the Hershey website in store. These are internal sites within Hershey World in Pennsylvania and a number of the stores now to actually go and personalize my own products. And this is our version of how that occurs. So these are optimized, or this particular site is optimized on an iPad, and it's aimed for kids and adults alike to be able to go into the stores, to be able to go into the theme parks and personalize their own product. This will show you our editor. Now, this editor can do all sorts of things, which you will be able to see in more detail shortly. For this example, it is very straight and simple. So I can enter my name in one particular place, I can change the font, I can select my product, and then I can actually see what this looks like as a 3D engraving. So in this example, it's not printed product. It is actually a partnership that we've developed with a company called Motion Cutter. We do some really cool high-speed laser engraving. But all of a sudden, it adds value to this product. I can now see my name. I can see what this is going to look like before this gets cut out and made in front of me. So whereas Hershey's were sitting there with a number of these products sitting on their shelves, relatively stagnant in terms of being able to go and sell them, if you allow people to go and personalize that themselves and also see that and watch that get made in front of them, it becomes a much more powerful story. And they add about $10 onto each one of those products, so it's very profitable for them as well. But web to print, and especially our solution, is not just about personalization. When we mention web to print, it is the first thing that comes to mind, is usually that personalization factor. And to be honest, it is one of the most exciting things to demonstrate when you're talking about web to print. But it isn't relevant to every client, and it also isn't the end of the story. An effective web to print or e-commerce platform should deliver everything you need to make your business a success. From beautiful storefronts, obviously the shop window of your brand, to online design of complex products, or simple proofing, or even uploading artwork and having that pre-flighted there and then in front of you. Easy to use templates can ensure that you give your client the creative freedom to anyone that's looking to order print around the business, while locking down elements that protect the brand identity. These templates also enable easy versioning for different languages, pricing, and seasonal offers, just for example. And of course, you can be accessible when your customers want to buy. So the digital-first customer expects to get these quotes, place their orders whilst they're at home, sitting in front of the fire or wherever that might be, but not just in the office hours, which is a big point for obviously online ordering. Now, what we can help do is to deliver above those expectations. Now, web to print has a fairly tarnished reputation this day and age. There's a lot of sort of simple systems out there that do a certain job. We aim to help you deliver above these expectations. One of the barriers to customers doing business online is the fact that they can't essentially try before they buy. However, with the MegaEdit 3D preview tool, this is the closest thing that a customer can get or that you can get to removing that as a key barrier and delivering competitive advantage. A good user experience will create distance between companies offering the same products. Whether you're delivering premium business cards, exceptional product packaging, or beautifully finished merchandise, customers will delight in the try before you buy experience, as we've seen with the Hershey site that we've got up and running there as well. Now, we also focus not just on our own solution, but the power of partnerships. It's becoming ever more important in this day and age to link up with the guys that are doing what they do very well. Now, we specialize in web to print. We don't claim to offer MIS systems. We don't want to get involved in CRM, but we can integrate with those guys that do that very well. There's a lot of people out there that have these markets in place, and we do the same from the web to print scenario. But we're now creating these strategic partnerships to allow the whole solution to be implemented within our clients. So a great user experience isn't just about the front end. It is looking at that streamlining of the back end processes to help speed up the time to market and improve profitability within that. It's essential when you're looking for a web to print solution to find one that offers the right package with a slick user experience, the ability to integrate with other links within the workflow chain, the right value-added partnerships, and a customer-centric support team. The best web to print providers out there offer this as well as so much more. That's why we say always it's not just about web to print. I'm quickly going to jump into showing you a bit of a demonstration of our solution. I won't go into too much detail because I want to keep it quite short and concise today. But web to print has that typical relationship or that typical understanding amongst the printers out there. Most of the time it is, as I mentioned, quite a rigid, quite a unexciting means of transferring files across on a B2B level. And the majority out there from what I've seen, are like that. But we operate in a completely different way. And when Doug started this business, it was much more about creating something which was fun and easy to use, and you could go online and place your orders and personalize or upload your files, but not do it in that sort of stagnant and boring manner that a lot of the systems out there were doing. And he also wanted to make something which was nice and intuitive. First and foremost about our product, as you would have seen with the Hershey site that I just shown, is the flexibility in the front end. So whereas with the majority out there, as I said, it's very rigid. You have a login screen, you might be able to change a logo or a color or a theme. Within Catfish, you can do whatever you want with that front end. So you have total control and total flexibility. With that being said, we do offer out themes that allow you to pretty much provide a turnkey solution for some of your clients, switch on a theme, make changes to the CSS without knowing code and doing that very easily in the back end, and creating user-friendly, modern-looking storefronts. I will just focus on our demo site just for the purpose of this, and obviously we can get into more detail about some of our client sites at a later date. So as I mentioned to start with, Web2Print is what we are known as. It is that typical sort of template-driven ordering system. Now, this is what the majority of systems out there do. This is where we started from as well, so it is still a core part of our offering. To give you a very quick example of this, I'll bring up just a standard cinema flyer that we've got set up on the site, which will show you a templated design. It will show you variable fields within a PDF, which as a user, I can then go on and make my amendments to. I'm sure there's nothing overly exciting about this. This is nothing new on the marketplace, but it is still a part of what we do. We have a bit of a unique way of creating this as a PDF or as a product with our own PDF plugin. So we have a plugin which sits within Acrobat that works on PCs or Macs, and allows you or any people within your business to relatively easily create variable fields on a PDF and then put in certain rules and restrictions. What I mean by that is with these images, I can only choose from the images which are embedded within the PDF. For the second image, I can take from different albums, different third parties, landscape, portrait. I'm able to drag and drop those in and position them where I need to. Or take from, as I mentioned, Facebook, Instagram, Flickr, things like that as well. So there's nothing too exciting about this version of our sort of Web2Print platform. It is, in our eyes, a lot more intuitive, a lot easier, both for the customer, but also for the client uploading that to create these variable products and get these up onto the website. Obviously, we provide the whole solution. So that does lead into the e-commerce aspect. We do provide payment gateways, allowing people to go through the whole process within Catfish. So going onto the URL, choosing from that fully customized website, selecting a product, personalizing that product, and then submitting that through the process as well. But what I really want to focus on today, and obviously the talk is about unleashing the power of your imagination, is some of the uniques that we can provide around our Mega Edit product. Now, Mega Edit is essentially what you've seen there within the Hershey site, but it is an online design tool. Now, it was initially, when we very first started this, focusing on the photo book world, but really now we're operating on any level and in any vertical. The difference between Mega Edit and Catfish, or as any other Web2Print system out there, is the flexibility that it can provide to the customer. It can still lock everything down, and you can still only allow changes wherever you or your client requires them. But in essence, I'm able to generate brochures, I'm able to generate photo books, newsletters, business cards, even packaging and calendars and things like that. I can create these within Mega Edit online. I can upload my images to that, and then depending on who I actually am when I log into the system, gives me a certain amount of freedom whilst I'm personalizing this. So as we can see, I've got a number of layouts which I can choose from. I can make changes to the text nice and easily. We have very good rich text controls when it comes to this. I'm currently logged in as an administrator. So I've got the ability to move these things around. However, if I simply click this button here to emulate a user, I'll pretend to be a standard user. As you can see, I no longer have that ability. So you can still lock things down just as easily and only allow people to make certain changes wherever you want to allow them to. And this allows for a lot of flexibility when it comes to it. Obviously, we give things like resolution warnings and positional warnings as well. But this all of a sudden opens up doors to multi-site businesses, to franchises, to areas where the people at the top want to have control of a product, but then want to allow the people beneath them a certain degree of flexibility and a certain degree of customization. And this is really where MegaEdit started to gain momentum in what we do. So it's not just the property market that works in, but really anyone that wants to arrange that sort of environment, as I mentioned. And the big one for us and the relationship with HP and HP Indigo is for what we do around the labels and packaging market. And this has escalated massively. And it's because there's not really anyone else out there that's competing to the level that we are in this. So you have that front-end customization. But you also have the complex editings within that, the complex methods of being able to make color changes, layout changes, to move things around, to almost design that online, and then see what that looks like as a 3D representation. So I can quite easily make a change to this directly onto the product. Ooh. Once. I can essentially make a change to this. I can change things like the colors, the backgrounds, and depending on how much flexibility I've got. I think because I haven't used this today, it's probably going to take a second to load up, but this is just rendering the 3D preview behind this. I guarantee the second time I'll do this, it will load up like lightning, but just for the first, it takes a couple of seconds. And then I can actually see what my design looks like as a 3D representation. And we can take this to all levels now. It's not just looking at labels and packaging, but it's really looking to provide a unique. We can have animations in there. We can have movement of products. We can even now go and show off different effects that you want to add to your print. And once again, it's allowing us to allow you to compete on a level that your competitors aren't yet at. And that's really what we want to do. We want to employ these solutions in your premises to make them successful and to make you more money. And typically the way that you do that within print these days is by offering something different. And what we can now do with this 3D world is show off different effects like foils, like embossing, like spot UVs, which web2print wasn't ever really evolved to comprehend. It wasn't able to allow you to offer these certain things out. And as you can see, this is a recent edition of a magazine published over here in the UK, but we can actually see the different lighting effects dependent on where I angle this. And this works for everything, from beer bottles to understanding how you want to put things on the shelves in the supermarket. It gives you that flexibility. One of the other exciting things that we've also added into our solution is an integration with a company called Documobi, who specialize in brand engagement and being able to upload videos and other digital streams into your print. And we can now do that through Catfish. So you have the ability to link up directly with Documobi, upload videos into your print. This allows you to really, and they do it by image recognition actually. So there's no QR codes, there's no chips or anything else like that that's needed. But I would be able to scan my phone over this and see where it's produced and where it's been made, and or even from a greetings card, and be able to see a message from a loved one that's overseas. And there's countless applications where that really works quite well. So our solution has now been developed to really sort of be at the forefront of this whole sort of web to print environment, but offer something which no one else can do. And we'll always be delivering this before everyone else, because it's through our board and through our energetic people that we have working for us that come up with these crazy ideas and really get driven by the managing director to push these out to our clients. And you'll see people slowly following suit when they notice what we're doing, but typically that's 6 months later and we're already thinking about the next project. We've been working in things like HTML5 for pretty much since we started now. I mean, as a business, and that allows us to be a lot more up to speed with it from a development standpoint. We know what we're working with. There's some companies out there which are just slowly sort of getting into that sort of realm. We have the knowledge, we have the team in-house that is very skilled up in this. So this really allows us to offer the support to allow you to provide something completely different. Once obviously you decide on your web to print system, it then comes down to the successful implementation. And this is a big key. As I mentioned to start with, poor planning often leads to failure. If you achieve failure within a web to print implementation, typically that's going to scare you off. And I know countless customers that have said, no, it's not for me, purely because they've tried and they failed. If they haven't tried with the right solution, then that's typically the reason that they failed. So we would always try and implement these steps before going live, before even signing a deal. We want to make sure that we are the right solution for your business. So we now do a lot of technical pre-scope, a lot of analytics to make sure that we can actually satisfy your needs. We'll be very upfront if we can't do that, because obviously we know it's not going to work, and generally we don't want the hassle later on as the relationship develops. But research and proper planning is completely necessary to get this right. There are lots of solutions out there that promise to deliver, and as you all know, Softwares has that reputation for salesmen just overselling things. But just to make sure you look out for a solution that delivers the most important elements to your business. I mean, in our sort of experience, they typically lie in a great user experience is first and foremost. And as technology increases, people are expecting more and more every time. So you want to make sure that you can deliver an excellent user experience, and intuitive and flexible all the way through from the front end to the back end. So not just about that user experience, but also making sure that you can manage it, making sure that you can look after that as your own business, and from an administrative point of view is massively important. And last but not least, we really do feel that the perfect support or a decent support team that's dedicated to making your business a success is also key. And once again, you will have web to print companies popping up from all corners of the world claiming to be the next biggest thing. But if you don't have the local support, and if you don't have the people that you can talk to on a personal level and complain to when you need to, or give thanks to when you need to, it's always going to be a very, very difficult relationship. And typically those people that are opting for those overseas supports or the people that have minimal support is very difficult to make them a success. I'm going to leave it there with a final note from, it's actually the gentleman I mentioned before, the chap from Documobi, Peter Lancaster. He's a seasoned veteran. He's been involved in the industry in many years. And he left us with a quote not so long ago that print is not dead, nor is it dying. It's just evolving in more ways and more quickly than the printing industry could ever anticipate. And it really is up to you guys to be able to manage that and to look forward and to act and not just be reactive, but before that. So that's it for the presentation today. I hope it's been insightful for you. As mentioned, I think it's best if we save the questions till after. We'll be more than happy. I know Alison and David over in our US team will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and obviously look deeper into the solution when we come to it. But hopefully it's been insightful for you. And as we said to start with, really the only limit is your imagination in this world, and we really want to make you do that and allow you those opportunities also. So thanks very much for your time, and we'll hope to see you at the next webinar.